I was interested in the medium. So what I mean by that is like, what are the properties of a medium? What does it mean somehow coming from the sustainability movement to like dance or sing, which is you construct something, but you kind of, it deconstructs immediately. You don't even have to recycle it. Whereas like visual art in the museum was very much entrenched in this kind of 19th, 20th century focus on producing things and celebrating this kind of production of things. And I thought, oh, as almost like a political act, I want to go into these places and show that like there's other modes of production. By that I mean like dancing or singing, which function in a different way, which kind of create something but also don't leave residue, and maybe also touch the soul or the psyche in different ways. Situation is a word which kind of immediately includes everybody who's somehow in the space of that situation. It doesn't make this division which we know from theater, from Greek theater, which at the beginning, you know, like the Dionysian festival in Greece was like a celebration, and then slowly as the city-state of Athens got bigger, they started to separate more and more, and then over the course of history, like there was more the stage and the audience, you know, like, and situation is a word which doesn't really allow you to think this kind of separations, you know, like everybody is somehow relevant in a situation and contributing to it. Obviously theater is a situation too, so that's where the argument needs to be maybe refined a little bit, which I'm trying to do right now, but I like to say that art is like a kind of prism. You know, sometimes people ask you nowadays, like, so what is the message or what is this? And it's like, well, art doesn't work like that. The artistic doesn't work like that. And the museum is that it's actually one of the only long-term institutions in our society, and it's an institution which is made to communicate between generations. You know, like we walk into here and we see things which were made in the 60s by a completely different generation. And that's normal. Like where else in society do you have? Or if you go to an encyclopedic museum, you'll see things from other centuries. This kind of communication between generations was always kind of something which I found touching, but also relevant for our time, because somehow in terms of the sustainability issue, we're maybe probably using more resources than we should be in this generation. So how do we create also an ethics of generation? How do we negotiate this kind of, yeah, discussion between generations? I mean, first of all, I think there's an atmospheric level. Like I hope that the collection display we did, it somehow creates an atmosphere which kind of tunes you in as a visitor, or tunes you out, like depending on when you see it, before or after you see this youiiyou, to what you're going to see or what you just saw. You know, I think that as a like metteur en scène, like I think that's one thing. It's like more atmospheric. The videos that we're showing, they tend to be kind of slowly transforming and stuff like that. That there's a kind of like an experience which doesn't seem too fragmented, not like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like, but that in terms of rhythms and kind of loudness, whatever quality you could think of, like that somehow there's some kind of convergence as an experience, as an atmosphere. I think that was my, let's say, main hope. And then I think, then let's say as a starting point for the collection display, I mean, it's obviously the collection itself. I mean, it is, you know, it's quite vast, and I think quite strong. At the same time, it's not endless, you know, like you have a lot of Andres, you have a lot of Pennone. I mean, those were the two artists that I somehow like, but also you have quite a bit of. But on a more conceptual level, like if you think of my work, it's people in a white space. So the Struth and Dijkstra's refer to the people, and the rest kind of refers to what is this white space, what are these white walls, you know, like the two aspects of what you see in the central room, people in a white space, like both aspects are kind of taken up in the collection display. Mediation is also really difficult. It's like translation. It's very difficult to make a good translation. It's very difficult to make good mediation, because if you write really a precise text about a very good work, then probably has to be longer than what you can read on a wall in a museum. If you kind of break it down into a shorter text, you run the risk of dumbing it down. Some of the less informed but intelligent visitorship will think, well, if it's that simple, why am I spending my time on this, you know? So I always felt, that's my personal opinion. I don't say that that's, you know, should go for everybody, but that was my feeling. But it's quite difficult task to do it in a way, and then like you have this artistic mode of producing meaning, which is more open, like we talked about. Then you have this more denotative with me right next to it. So it also runs the risk of closing that. So sometimes I think it's nice to, like in the tradition of visual art, which was also my access to visual art, about the catalog, and like you can read about it later. I think that makes a lot of sense, but I think in the moment it can be nice to kind of just see what actually happens between you and the work. But of course, like in any field, that requires a little bit of investment of time, maybe of like training yourself. The Pont is very much a space for, like, the way I read it. Maybe it has something to do with that I knew it after I knew Dear Beacon. I read it as a place for minimal art, like in this kind of long warehouse, and then the collection does have minimal art. So with the kind of 20-something works we have of Jan Andriessen, I think it goes in that direction. Personally, it's a tradition that I like because it kind of plays with the architecture, But I also see it like as a place which is related to this industrial production of the 20th century. Like nowadays, I don't mind doing like things in more ornamented spaces, I think when I was younger, I would have been less ambivalent about this kind of space.